Hey there, so today I want to peek further down that rabbit hole in Comicchron June 2018 numbers, and I want to look at IDW by itself. Why would I do that? Well, when I'm looking at that Crayola version of, say, descriptor, if I were going to say I want to really see what IDW looks like and showcase it to the world, I would pick out golden hues and a red array. I would put that together and I would showcase a picture that shows embers burning brightly over a trash fire that's consuming more and more. Because this thing, well, it's going to burn up the company if they don't do something about it. Now, they have been basically the hallmark for bad decision making. You see over and over again them doing that, and I mean, really, it's starting to stack up. They have also gone out. I feel like quality has dropped just overall. I mean, their standards seem to have dropped. When we look, too, at professional behavior or the lack thereof, they have pretty much gone and showcased that. Now, I've seen some things behind the scenes that talk about IDW too, and people are under this delusion working there that IDW is doing fine. Look at their stock reports. This company is negative $6.7 million this year. They have amassed a huge amount of debt. The equity or actual value of the company, it is decreased from around $50 million to something like $43 million, just rounding those numbers. So you're talking about taking a huge hit, somewhere between 12 and 15%. Now, when you're looking too at the overall numbers per quarter, I mean, you're seeing a company that's losing for comic book alone. You're talking close to $2 million, as in negative $2 million. You're not talking about a decrease. You're talking about actual losses. Last year, their overall profit was negative $800,000, and it looks like they're going to jump that by millions this year because they are in dire disarray. And yet, you know, after turning over their editor-in-chief, after bringing in new PR people, they still allow their people to go out and divide lines in the sand, you know, to say that political intolerance or discrimination, that's okay. They pretend that the personal-professional divide, that is actually something that we have to acknowledge. You know, you have people that work for them going out saying some reprehensible things. They do it repeatedly to the point that, say, IDW Justin, one of their editors, you know, I did a video on this, but he put out what I felt was a advocation of violence against Trump supporters. Well, his account disappeared, but still, if you don't have an internal mechanism to keep that from transpiring, then what exactly are you doing to change? I mean, you should be bringing in consumers. You should be doing something to erase this negative stigma, but instead you've done nothing. And it shows when we look at exactly where you're standing now. Now remember, this company has for the longest time been number 4. They've always been number 4. You know, you think about that, it goes Marvel, DC, Image, IDW. This time, however, share of overall units, Dark Horse actually edges them out. And look how closely they are to this one under them. And if you look at this is actually a misprint, but they were edged out by Boom as well. So you have them fall from 1, 2, 3, 4 to 5, 6, if you put that in, and really close to 7th place. I mean, they have done a lot to drastically decline. Now, when you look at the share of overall dollars here, again, you're talking about a company that has declined, yet again, fallen out of that spot for Dark Horse and very close to Dynamite here. They are not top tier anymore. And that's sad to see a company. You know, when you think about the nostalgia to it, they have brought a lot of interesting titles to the field. But really, in this here and now, they're doing nothing. And in fact, they do nothing to go out and really remedy all of the issues. I would encourage people to go and watch videos on that stuff too, and really decide if you want to back companies like this, because until they do something wherein they go out and they not only platform well, but they have to do something to say, yeah, you're invited here, we'll never do this again, I would say don't back them. I would not. I wouldn't do it at all. They made a big move too with Marvel. You know, there was an article that came out today. Now, I don't know when I'll post this video. I have a few lined up. But there was an article talking about how they're going to do kids' books from Marvel. They're already doing Star Wars Adventure. And, well, they don't seem to be helping quite a bit when you're looking at where this company is positioning. I imagine they're hoping for something, but I don't know how they're going to right that ship. Now, the one thing they've been talking about that's supposedly doing well for them, Sonic the Hedgehog went up 4% in sales. You know, they've dropped from number one's placement almost 10,000 units, but still they're bragging about how they had an increase after a decrease after decrease after decrease. So this is supposed to be their shining moment. Remember, this was the thing that was supposed to save them too. One of the top things they listed, and you see where it's at now. Now, when you're looking at Star Wars Adventures, that's another thing that has been licensed with them. In fact, look at all of the licensed products here. That's a problem with this setup. We're not talking about selling units alone. You're talking about a threshold. If you don't meet that threshold, you're talking about no profitability. So you see this, and you see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Ongoing breaking 10,000. But after that, look at the drastic declines. You get past the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle titles. And also when you're looking at this, I mean, you see a number 2 already rating that. You're probably going to have more decline there. My Little Pony titles, they used to always do a positive setup, a very positive one. Now here, not over 7,000 units. You see a Transformers title barely breaking 5,800 here. I mean, that's pretty sad that it's that low on the totem here. Tangled, I mean, you have a franchise that might actually, you know, appeal to people out there, but of course, 4,200. 30 Days of Night, a huge disappointment. The quality of that was substandard beyond belief, and it showcases within the numbers. Then look at the jump here. Now, Punk's not dead. I'm amazed by that because this is somebody that has gone out that brought that and wrote an article about conservatives being the anti-school shooting victim, essentially saying you're the same as school shooters. That guy, of course, has been featured with them. Great. Then we have Ron Martz here, and you know how terrible Ron Martz acts. Like he basically is the voice of change, and you know, he likes to tell people exactly where they stand in industry and on. Well, he's reaching that lovely, lovely threshold of 2,271 units. That should be well below the cutoff threshold, and really we're talking about a number 2 here. It can only go down from there. And you see exactly where everything else sets within this. Now, when we get to trade paperbacks as well within this, you can see Star Wars actually breaking the 1,000 mark, and the My Little Ponies, they're a really high seller for them. But beyond that, I mean, you're talking about units that, again, they don't move that well. I mean, when you look at what's here, you don't have a lot represented anyhow. But when you look at it as well within the estimated units, you're not talking about huge moves. Lock and Key is actually still moving, which is a great thing, but look how far back you have to go to feel excitement about something. Also, if I were going to buy that, I would buy a deluxe edition too. I actually wouldn't buy that one, but that's neither here nor there. I mean, when you see this, like I say, you see how far down Transformer lines have fallen. People are no longer interested. And when you look at some of the things that have been thrown in there with them, of course people aren't interested. Now, when you have dropping numbers like this, and the industry is reporting lower sales. I mean, if you look at the number of shipped units and you look at the actual sales within the year to date, I mean, you're talking about a decrease so far of around 4% for pricing point. And of course, they have this huge decline. Well, that means they're making less money than last year. And last year was a pit. That's why they're seeing nothing. Also, remember, a lot of those numbers are propped up by milestones, and those milestones, they don't hit places like IDW, so really you have this camouflage that's concealing how bad some companies are hurting, the ones that are not in the top 2 tier. And I think IDW, they really showcase how far this market is falling, how they need to do something drastic to change it, and yet how they won't. And well, if they don't, then we're going to get out the colors, we're going to get out our crayons, icons again. We'll mark a little bit more of that shade, and all that'll be left at the end after the golden hues dissipate is this charred remain. That's nothing. That was once a great company. But anyhow, tell me what you see in this kind of stuff. When you look at it, I mean, do you see the reflection of a company that was once the number 4 out there? Do you see that anymore? I can't see it. When I look at these numbers, I do not recognize this company at all. I mean, it is a mess. It is in dire disarray. And I don't know how you're going to remedy that unless you change everything about the company. Again, they brought in a new editor-in-chief. They brought in other people, but still they have the same people in this system of command. They keep doing the same thing, repeating the same patterns and the same mistakes, and nobody doing anything about it. No one is out there saying, let's bring in the customers, because customers are the thing that make you work. If you have to explain that to a company, well, it's pretty much too late. But anyhow, like I say, tell me what you think. Thank you.